And welcome to Right on the Money. Brad Johansson with Tom Mosley. Mosley Wealth Management.
You got it.
It's nice to be with you, my friend.
30 years.
30 years of doing this.
Yep.
Okay. All right, you've spurred this. We're going to talk a little income today. I wonder if any of you know, because I don't, what was Tom's first job that he earned a paycheck for?
The first thing I ever did was I mowed lawns.
You remember what you mowed a lawn for?
Yep.
Back in the day?
$2.
$2.
Yep. And I had to split it with a buddy of mine, Andy Hall.
So you got $1.
I got $1.
Probably worked an hour for the buck?
It was a pretty big lawn. It was in southeast Georgia. It was one of those big lawns, and we had to mow around pine trees and pick up pine cones.
Did you feel rich at that time?
I was rich. I mean, if I mowed 2 lawns, I could go to the store with 6 extra cents because it was 3 cents tax at the time, and I could buy a model car.
I worked on a golf course. It's probably the first job that I ever had. I think it was $3.21 an hour. And
Wow.
I had to be there at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
So I had to ride the bike to get that done. I lead this in because we've all had jobs we didn't want to do. But then most of us tried to figure out for decades what we were going to do for income. We ended up getting pretty good at it, most of us, and said, this is what we're going to do. Now we're going to try and figure out how to retire. And nobody's really ever told us how to do it. And yet we need an income. So I want to begin the program on income, because back in the day, it was very different. We might have felt rich with $1 in our pocket. And now it's very difficult to feel rich at any point because we're not sure where it's going to come from. I want to talk about income in retirement. Once the income goes away from our employer, we've been told we save, save, save. We put this money away. We finish the job. And then we take 4% out, and that's going to be our income wherever we've put that away. Is this rule still good? Because I want to talk about keeping income healthy for decades into retirement that's going to last. What's the 4% rule? Does it still work?
Well, one of the 2 major prongs of what we do at Mosley Wealth Management is we make sure that people have sufficient income for the rest of their life, and will 4% do it? Well, where did we get 4%? In the 1990s, and you might remember the 1990s. I remember them well. You were a young child at the time.
I was not a young child. I'm right behind you, my friend.
But in the 1990s, man, the market was just going up, up, up. We had the first little housing boom. We did have a blip in 1994, but then we hit the .com boom. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could say .com and make money. I mean, that's all you had to do.
Yeah.
And in fact, you could have a sign on the street corner that said .com and people would put money in it. You know, it would work like crazy, not literally, but it would work. So during the 90s, they came up with this theory. It's funny how theories develop in the income and the economic environment of the time. And the environment of the time said that if you have $1 million, you can take 4% of that $1 million the first year, $40,000. You can index it for inflation. You can increase it 3% a year. It wasn't just 4%. There were other numbers too. You could increase it 3% per year for inflation. And you could bank on the market making a minimum of 6% every year.
So the rule worked.
The rule worked. And like all financial rules, I'll do them like this, rules in quotations. And we joke around in this industry when we go to industry events that, you know, I've got this new philosophy of investment. I've got this new product that really does well. I've got this new EFT that works really well. This mutual fund is doing super well. And the joke is everything works until it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work and it blows up on you, you've got to come up with a new plan. So 4 years, in fact, what they did was they even have a name for this 4% rule. It's a part of a bigger plan called the Monte Carlo model.
Okay.
And almost every software. You know, if you're with a traditional broker at one of the big box firms, they can give you this report that's this thick, that's got columns of numbers on page after page and graphs and colors and all kind of things. And we have those too. Okay, we have those too. But the true Monte Carlo model tells you that if you take 4% of your investment and you run that through the years, you increase it 3% a year for inflation, banking on 6% return in the market. Here's what they don't tell you at the big box firms many times. The last few pages of that Monte Carlo simulation, they'll say, you've got a 91% chance of not running out of money. You've got an 86% chance of not running out of money. You've got, you name it, a percentage less than 100% of running out of money. That means if I've got a 91%, Brad, chance of not running out of money.
There's a chance you're going to run out of money.
There's a chance you're going to run out of money. There's a 14% chance at 86%. I saw one recently where a person brought in their report from one of the big box firms, started with an F, okay? And they said, you've got a 71% chance of not running out of money. That's a 29% chance of failure. Is that what you want to run in retirement? No wonder so many people, Brad, are fearful, because here's what happens. Here's what happens. That pile of money that's in your IRA, your 401k, your 457, it looks good when you're 65 years of age. 4% sounds good, man. I've got 96% left. Look what happens over here. The problem is you take 4% and you index at 3, and you take 4% and index at 3. When you're 75, not 65, you're 75, you go to that, I call it a lumber yard, to get some lumber, and you pull off what you need for that year, and you start to walk away, and you turn around and you look, you say, wow, that pile's not nearly as big as it was when I was 65.
I'm running out of lumber.
I'm running out of lumber. I'm running out of money. And then the big box firms say, well, let's run that simulation again. And we've had some changes in the numbers and some changes in these production, and the market is just not being our friend. And all of a sudden, the fear of running out of money comes in. And here's another thing. You might have had a friend. We're friends. I've got you by about 10 years.
Yeah.
If I had run that, when I turned 75, our broker started telling me, Tom, you got to be careful, but Brad, you're okay. And you're doing basically the same thing I'm doing. How comfortable are you and Colleen going out now in your first years of retirement, in those go-go years, and spending what you need to spend to enjoy it?
What you kind of say is that a lot of folks are walking in because they're purporting their average rate of return.
Right.
And you walk in, and that's what we've been told to ask. Hey, what's your average rate of return? And it's really easy for a broker, for an advisor to say, here's what we do on average. And they, whew, that sounds good. What's wrong with average rate of return when we haven't talked about sequence of returns?
Well, let me show you. I'm going to try to do something that's a little bit hard. You've got to think with me out there, okay? You ready? If you have $100,000 and you have a 50% gain in the market, you've gone to 150,000, right?
Good year.
Good year. If the next year, like twice since the year 2000, you have a 50% downturn, you've got $75,000 in your account, because you've got $150,000, you lose half of it, you're at 75. The third year, you make 30% on your $75,000, so you're back up to $97,500. But let's average. Plus 50 minus 50 is 0, plus 30 divide by 3 years. Don't you feel good? You've averaged 10% per year, average, but you're down $2,500 in your total amount without having taken out any money without having taken out a 4%. We're just talking about a flat balance.
Because you've sat it in a volatile space, and that's the only space you have.
That's the only space you have. And you're looking at an average. It's not your average. It's what we do when we do an annual review. We call them evaluate meetings, And when we come in to evaluate the plan every single year, what we do is we give you a statement, say, this is where you were last year when you walked into this room. This is where you are now. This is how much you have left. It's not, let me give you two statements. It is not in retirement your lump sum that means anything. It's your income, and knowing that you've got guaranteed income for life. That's what's important. Your income means nothing. Let me give you a story really quick. Guy comes in one time about 6 years ago, $200,000 to his name, gets laid off after 34 years of working with this company. Is he in trouble? That's all he's got. Most people at my seminar say, yeah, he's in trouble. Let me give you some more information. This guy worked for the government. He's got a $17,000 a month pension. During the time for 34 years he was working for the government, he bought 3 rental houses in `𝗪𝗏𝗱. They're free and clear. He makes about $6,500 free and clear every month on those. This guy's bringing in $23,500 a month, Brad, and his budget is around $3,000 a month. Now let me ask you again, is he in trouble? Absolutely not. Why? Because he's got his income set for life. That's what's important in retirement.
It's putting together a blueprint, and if you don't have an income plan that's going to work for you, then are you in trouble? 866-709-1462. Income is the outcome. Why don't you put together a complimentary blueprint plan? Tom will do that for you. Make the phone call, scan the QR code, do it now. We'll talk more about income when we return.
Better is just better, but it doesn't begin without a plan. Better, it's the American way, from a better house to a better career to a better life for our kids. Americans strive for better. But when it comes to your retirement, what does better mean to you? A better income? A better lifestyle? A better solution? A better retirement begins with a financial plan. To get your complimentary financial plan, call the number you see here. It's your retirement and an opportunity for better.
Welcome back. You are right on the money. Brad Johansson, Tom Mosley. We're talking about income and building an income plan. So how do we do it? You left by saying, I got a guy, and is he in trouble? He got laid off after 34 years. He wasn't in trouble because the blueprint was there. How do we build an income plan? And for many of you watching, I know you're feeling, it's too late for me. I did this too late. I did too many things wrong. Is it ever too late? And how do we begin if we're feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure I can build an income plan that's going to last?
It is so trite to say today's the first day of the rest of your life. Today, you got to start where you are. You've got to, so many people are living in denial. We've done a previous show where we talked about how people were embarrassed to talk and fearful to talk to a financial advisor. You cannot allow yourself to be in that position. You have got to talk to a financial advisor, but you've got to talk to a particular kind of a financial advisor who's really looking at building you an income plan. Because as we talked about, and I gave you illustrations in the first segment, you know, that accumulation could go away. What's your income? What's your income, and how's it guaranteed? Now, let me roll my sleeves up, not literally, but let's roll our sleeves up and talk about how we build an income plan. It starts with a 4-letter word, budget. B-U-D.
Because nobody likes to say it.
No, nobody likes to say it. Nobody likes to live on a budget. Nobody likes to be told, you know, you can go shopping and you have this much money to spend. We like to be able to spend whatever we want to spend.
Can I delineate this budget? Because it changes in retirement. And we've lived with necessities, probably thrown a vacation or two in here. Is there a necessities budget and then a lifestyle in retirement budget that I have to work on? Where do I begin?
Well, you begin with where you are, okay? And here's what I'm talking about every seminar that we do. We do over 200 seminars. Go to our website, Mosley Wealth Management. Look at our seminar schedule. We're all over Southern California. We'd love to have you. All of them are free. Come in. When you open up a folder, whether it's on Social Security or taxes or retirement masterclass, you're going to find 2 blank budget worksheets. Now, in answer to your question, how do we begin? How do we know it's volatile and I'm going to retire? Here's what you do. You take the first sheet and you look at what your budget is now. What do you do in science? You work from the known to the unknown. So we know what we're spending now. Well, no, we don't. Most people don't know what they're spending now.
Because they're not keeping track of it.
Because they're not keeping track. Now, if you're an engineer, you've got those 6 pages of Excel spreadsheets that you've got taped together that you can tell what your budget is going to be in the year 2179. I get it. I understand. But most of you are not engineers, okay? And so you don't have that detailed budget. Well, this budget will go through line by line by line, your household budget. What are you spending for your mortgage? No mortgage. That's good. My house doesn't cost me anything. They're going to take it away from you in 2 years if you don't pay what? Your taxes. And you're going to insure it. And if you've got a house that's 40 years old, you've got repairs and upkeep. So what is your budget? Say, that's hard to project. Don't project. Figure what you're spending now. Then your household. What am I spending on transportation? One guy told me one time, he said, well, when I retire, I won't be traveling that much. I travel every day to El Segundo. No, but you're going to be traveling to Italy and to Fiji and to Bora Bora because a lot of people like to travel. So put your budget the way it is right now, and then go into your household items. Clothes. I know you don't spend much money on clothes. You should spend some more, but spend that money on clothes and going to the hairdresser and getting your hair dyed, men, where you dye it back so you don't look quite so gray, and stuff. All of those things. Here's what I'm saying. You know all of those things now. And everything in building an income plan starts with what you're spending now. Now, Brad, to your point, the volatility comes when you retire. That guy who says, I drive to El Segundo, take that second sheet and say, well, my house, I'm going to pay that off in 3 years. So mark that over there. In 3 years, that's going to be done. But you're still going to have taxes. You're still going to have insurance. You're still going to have, and then what are my household, my car? Don't say, like a guy told me one time, we're 62 years old and we bought the last Buick we're ever going to need. No, you're always going to have car expense. So move that over. You might not be traveling to El Segundo, but move over $30,000 a year for travel during your go-go years. In other words, build that retirement budget. Okay? And project from the known of what you're spending now to the unknown. That's how you build a budget. Why is that so important? Why do I spend so much time there? Number one, it's what people don't do. Number two, if you're going to come to me with a lumber yard and you're going to say, Tom, can you make this into a retirement blueprint that takes care of my income, considers inflation, considers my investments and their risk, considers taxes, all right? Considers our health care, considers legacy and how we're leaving it. Those 6 things are a retirement blueprint. It all starts with your income because you're going to ask the question, can I retire? Which means, are we going to have enough income? Well, I don't know until I know one thing. What? What are you spending, or what are you likely to spend in retirement? Now, if you've never had a financial advisor that gets passionate about this, they're probably operating on a hope strategy. I'm going to put your money in the market the way it's been for 40 years and hope it's still good to us, like we talked about in the first segment. Hope is not a strategy for a secure retirement. Do you need a retirement blueprint? I know this. Let me ask the question differently. You need a retirement blueprint. Do you know it? If you know you need a retirement blueprint, then you need to pick up the phone. Some of you have been thinking about doing this for a long time, not just this show, but other times you've seen us on here. You've heard us on the radio. We're all over Southern California. You need to dial 866-709-1462, 866-709-1462. You need to take the uncertainty out of your hope plan and build a retirement blueprint so that you can have a great retirement. It's up to you. You've got to pick up the phone.
Nobody wants to take a pay cut in retirement. They'd like the income to last. Do you have an income gap? Have you even figured out the budget? Maybe now's the time. And maybe you need some help. It's been too complicated. Time has gotten away from you. Make the phone call now. 866-709-1462. Scan the QR code. Let's put together a blueprint for you that works. We'll be right back.
Have you ever considered refinancing your retirement? When interest rates are low, you might be able to refinance your home, your car loan, even your credit card rates, because it could help you keep more money each month. Yet, when the interest rates go up, it might make sense to refinance your retirement. Higher interest rates could provide you with income opportunities that you might not be aware of. What works for your portfolio during low interest rates may not work for you when interest rates are high. Find out if a retirement refi could work better for you. Give us a call today and schedule a complimentary Refi Your Retirement review.
You are right on the money. Brad Johansson and Tom Mosley, Mosley Wealth Management, talking about income. How do we figure it out? How do we make it last? I want a guarantee. I'm not sure there's anybody out there who doesn't want a guarantee. We've talked about the numbers before, that more than dying, people fear running out of money while they are alive in retirement. How do I guarantee my income?
Well, let's talk about the building blocks of income. Most people have Social Security. I mean, I don't know what the percentage is. It's got to be what, 98, 99% of the people have Social Security. So one of the reasons we do over 100 Social Security workshops all over Southern California every single year is because it's 41% of the average American's household in retirement. Let's nail Social Security. Is your advisor talking to you about Social Security? It's 40% plus of your income. So we make sure you're taking it correctly. Are you married? We make sure that you're taking it correctly as a couple. We are concerned not only with your income that first year of retirement, that fifth year of retirement, but what happens in that 25th year of retirement when there's only one of you if you are married.
You're talking about optimizing Social Security because there's so many strategies.
There's so many strategies that you can play. One strategy is to let your Social Security grow. Well, we can't let both of them grow. Let the smaller one turn it on. Let the breadwinner, the taller Social Security, let it grow. Because like last year, the Social Security that was turned on would only have grown at 2.7% in January, whereas the one that was not turned on would grow at 10.7% in January, because you get about an 8% bump every year plus the cost of living raise. So nail your Social Security. Then, do you have a pension? 1 out of 6 of you still have a pension. Does your spouse have a pension? For goodness sakes, I cannot tell you how many people, Brad, come in and they saw that big number on their pension options and they took the big number, and the big number only covered the life of the person who was working at that company. Please, please consider your spouse when you're taking your pension option. Is there a lump sum option? You say, well, I've read a lot about how pensions might not be that secure, particularly if we get into a weak financial environment. Well, for goodness sakes, take that lump sum option and put it somewhere where you control it. Okay? There's so many things. So nail the pension. All of these are things. I get so passionate. I'm ready to jump out of the chair here, because these are the things that separate us from the normal put it in the market and hope. When the market goes down, you're going to be okay. When the market goes down, most of the people that we work with know they're going to be okay, because we've taken this income equation off the table. We've nailed it. You say, how? With social, with pensions, do you have rentals? I'm one of those crazy advisors that think rentals might be a good thing because I have them myself, and it's like an appreciating asset that pays you a dividend because it usually goes up in value and it pays you a dividend called rent every single year, every single month. So here's what we do. We add what you have coming in. Remember in the first segment, I told you about one of my clients that's got $23,000 a month coming in. He doesn't need any additional income, but you might. So how do we fill that gap? Well, there's two ways. We can leave it at risk, and that would be just taking a draw on a systematic basis out of part of your lump sum that we put over in a 2 to 3 year secure bucket. In other words, it's not going to have a lot of fluctuation in that bucket because you don't want the market to be down 50% and then to go draw from that bucket if it's down 50%. You're drawing twice as much out. So that's one of the ways we do it. How do you guarantee it? You know, it's crazy, Brad. People insure their life, they insure their house, they insure their car, they insure their health, they insure their long-term care. I mean, how many different ways do we insure our financial life? But then it comes to their income and they say, well, let me leave that up to chance. There is a way, not variable annuities, not some of the annuities that everybody says, I hate annuities, but fixed indexed annuities. I've got a LIMRA report. That's the life insurance organization that does studies. And they're showing that in the last 5 years, people are getting to the point with all the volatility and the fluctuation where there's more than 3 times as much money going into fixed indexed income annuities. That's an annuity that will pay you, listen to this, a guaranteed flow of income for as long as you live, if you're married, for as long as your spouse lives, and if you die and there's still money in that, it goes to your heirs. And if you outlive your money, here's the key. Here's the key. It will continue to pay you a guaranteed flow of income forever, as long as you're on this earth. Guaranteed income. So what we do in building an income plan with many of our people, your choice. You want to leave it at risk? We do that. But you want to guarantee it? Slap on that fixed indexed annuity that'll guarantee your total income for the rest of your life. You got to build a plan.
Tom's been preaching today.
Woo!
Are you listening? Come to the altar. Don't even have to do that. Just go to your phone. 866-709-1462. Let's put together a plan to make it easy for you. Maybe a touch of a guarantee would feel good. Scan the QR code. We're so grateful for your time here. Now we need you to spend a little time in the office. Let's put the blueprint together. We'll see you right here next time.